everyone, thank you so much for clicking yet another video and welcome if you're new. My name is Teddy G and this channel is all about me taking you guys along for the journey with me as I build this clothing brand. Guys, a question that I do get a lot is who makes your logos, who's your graphic designer, all those kinds of questions, and the short answer is me. I make the logos, I make the majority of the graphics if I can do them myself. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how I use Adobe Illustrator to create my logos that I use in my clothing brand. So in this video, I'm going to be creating a logo for my concept brand called Kini Concept. Now, Kini Concept is a fake made-up brand that's going to be going into my ultimate clothing brand starter kit, because basically I wanted people to have a relatable business that they can relate different sections of the starter kit to. I feel like that would be a really good way of providing clear, good examples of how to implement different strategies within my starter kit. So that brand obviously needs a logo. And when I'm designing a logo, sometimes I will sit down and I will sketch some ideas that I might have. But if I don't have any ideas like today, I'll actually go onto the internet and look for inspiration. And that is what I'm going to be showing you now. So I'm going to become a little person shortly once I get my screen recording sorted. Just give me a second. So I'm just going to go into Google and I'm going to type in bikini logos. As you can see, it's something that I've already searched up, and I'll just have like a good old scroll and see if any of the logos jump out at me as to something that I would want my logo to look like. The idea of this is not to copy, it's just to get some inspiration. So straight away, I love the look of this logo, so I'm just going to take a screenshot of this and have that on my desktop, so that is something that I can keep going back to, referring to get inspiration, or I could put it into my mood board. But I don't think for this video I'm going to create a mood board. If anybody wants a video of how I create mood boards, then let me know. I like the look of this logo as well, so I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Now, I love the look of this. This is pretty much something that I want to go for. Like, I want to have the idea of like a woman laying down like this with my logo somewhere around there. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this. For the purpose of this video, I don't think I'm actually going to create a really simple logo. I think I am going to go for something a little bit like out there. Maybe not my typical kind of logo, but it's definitely a logo that works for a lot of people. So as you can see here, I've got like all my screenshots here, and I already pretty much have an idea of what I want for my logo. So let's take this one for example. It's called Salty Kini, which is kind of similar to Kini Concept because obviously the Kini part. But what I like about this is the fact that they've taken the S of the salty and the K of the Kini and made that like the big image, and then obviously they've got the name of the brand here. So I'm thinking of doing something similar with like the two K's, because Kini Concept, the concept part, is going to be spelled with a K. And like I mentioned, I really do like the idea of a woman laying down. So I like to use Adobe Illustrator to create my logos, to create any graphic, to be honest. I feel like it's a really good application to use. I do tend to leave all of this the same. If you've watched my how to use Adobe Illustrator to design clothes video, you are probably going to get a little bit bored, because I am going to go through some of the interface, the functionality of Adobe Illustrator. I am going to put chapters in, so you can just skip that part if you're not interested. In here, I'm just going to type in Kini Concept logo draft, and I'm going to keep everything else exactly the same and then click create. I'm just going to quickly go through some of the tools that I'm going to be using today. This is the selection tool, and it's got the shortcut key of V. This allows you to move things around your artboard. This is the direct selection T called A. I will show you exactly what that does, because it actually is quite difficult to explain what it does. This is the pen tool with the shortcut key P, and this allows you to begin to draw your vector lines like this, and then V would allow you to like move it around, scale it up and down. And as you saw when I was scaling it up and down, it did become a little bit distorted. I'll show you what I mean. In order for you to stop it from doing that, you can just hold down your shift key and this will let it go up and down and proportionately. So within your pen tool, you've got your anchor point tool, which allows you to curve lines. This is definitely something that I am probably going to be using today, so you will get to see a little bit more clearer what that tool tool does. This is your shape tool, so it allows you to draw different shapes like a star. Childish. This is your type tool, and this is a tool that I use a lot when it comes to creating logos, especially logos like the type of logos that I like, which are typically like textual type logos, if textual is a word. And these are my colors, and I'll definitely be using this. So this is my fill tool, so that will like fill the whole object, and this one will change the color of the stroke. And then down here we've got the gradient tool, which I feel like I am probably going to use today. So I'm going to put my thing into pen so that we can talk about some of the things on this side as well. So again, you have your fill and stroke tool as well, but here you can actually increase the size of your stroke. So as you can see, I've just drawn a line, so I'm going to click pen so that that detaches itself, and in here I can just increase the size of the stroke. But also within stroke, which I know I didn't speak about in my previous Adobe tutorial, but I feel like this will come in handy, say if I was creating a logo that I've actually drawn myself using like my own handwriting. In here it allows you to now actually change the profile of a line, and it also allows you to do a dash line. So let's do the dash line first. So if I click here, it will turn that line into like lots of little dashes, and you can adjust like the size of the dash as well. So if I was to put one in here, it's obviously going to add a lot more lines within the line, if that makes sense. Just going to undo that and go back into here. But here is a really interesting tool, and this is something that I use a lot. So this allows you to like adjust what your line looks like, so you can make it look like this, or you can make it look like that. I will show you my Teddy G logo where I've actually utilized this stroke. So this is my Teddy G logo. So I actually hand drew this myself and then went into Illustrator and computerized it. So if I select all of this and just quickly ungroup it, then I can actually click on one of the lines here. So this is for my G. You will see that the profile that I used for this was this one. So initially, if I had just kept this on uniform, it would have looked like this, which I guess doesn't look that bad, but definitely this stroke looks so much better. Back to this. If there's any tools in my toolbar that you don't have, you can click these three dots at the bottom and you can add them in. You'll find them in here. But let's get on with this particular logo. I'm gonna go into my type tool and I'm going to type a K, and then I'm gonna click V and I'm gonna just copy and paste that here. So I've got my two Ks ready, and I'm going to increase the size of both because from that salty kini concept, I want to have the two like Ks together. So now I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna look at the fonts and try and pick a font that I actually like. One of the fonts that I've been loving recently is this one, and another font that I've been loving recently is this one called Adobe Script. I go to copy and paste this one and see whether I like those two Ks together or whether I like these two Ks together. But I think in my case, I think I'm probably gonna go for this one. And in here, there's actually some more options. So I can go for this kind of K if I click text noir, or I can go for this one, or I could go for this one, or I can go for this one. That looks fun. Oh, I can't decide. I might go for this one for now, but I'm actually gonna copy and paste that as well so that I can actually go for the other one as well. And I'm gonna copy and paste that once again and go for that last one, which I think is quite cool. I kind of wish I could have a line here to represent. I can have a line there. So I'm gonna go into here and I'm gonna go into my shape tool, and I'm actually gonna right click or left click that, and I'm gonna click my rectangle tool, and I'm actually gonna draw a rectangle here. And then I'm gonna click on that rectangle and I'm going to make the fill no fill, and I'm gonna put a stroke instead, but I'm gonna make the stroke extra tiny. And I might actually go into my stroke tool and make it a dashed line, but I'm probably gonna decrease the size of the dashes, and I'm going to move that over here. I feel like that is too big. Holding down my shift key so that it doesn't become disproportionate to each other, I'm going to reduce the size of it. I'm going to let go of that shift key actually because it's not actually helping. And I'm just going to reduce the size of it this way and increase it this way. I feel like to the eye that looks pretty much the same, and I'm going to move this over. I think I'm going to increase the stroke of that a little bit. I quite like that. So I'm going to get rid of these and work around this. Do we like that dashed line? I'm not sure I do. In fact, actually, I'm gonna make the fill white. Yeah, okay, I like that now. Actually, I might actually make the stroke non-dashed. There's something about it that's just like, it's just not quite there. Or maybe it needs to be, maybe the stroke needs to be thicker so it actually matches with the other stroke. I don't know, guys. Don't know if I'm feeling that anymore. Let's stick with that and put that over to the side, and that can be a logo concept number 1. So I'm gonna go back into my type tool, and this time I'm actually just gonna type Kini concept. That's super interesting because you can kind of see like what they've tried to do there, but I'm actually gonna take it back. Oh, this is fun. Quite like that. Let's go with this for now. That could also be a logo. So if anybody is interested in what font that is, the font is called ACR BAT. Going back to this logo here, I'm actually going to try and replicate something similar. So I'm going to go back into here and change it back to the outline, solid or outline. And I'm going to take these 2 Ks and I'm going to put those on top. I'm going to see what it looks like as the outline instead. So that again can be a logo in itself as well. So for my next logo, I actually want to have 2 swirly Ks. So I'm going to go back into my type tool and I'm going to type a K, and it's already in a swirly font already. So this is the one that I'm going to go for. I'm actually going to take this and copy and paste it. The issue that I'm having with this K is that it's too much. I'm going to show you guys a really cool thing that you can do on Illustrator. So I'm going to take that K and move it over to the side. I'm actually going to zoom in so you can properly see what I'm doing. And I'm going to click this and I'm going to go up into object and I'm going to expand this. So this will mean that it's no longer a letter. I can no longer treat this as a letter. So as you can see here, unlike this one, what comes up is like the text field, but this one is now like a vector, and you can tell it's a vector because if I click A, you can see like the anchor points. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these anchor points so that it looks exactly how I want it to look. I'm going to click this one and delete this one, and yeah, it's going to do a little bit of a madness to start off with. As you can see, I've gotten rid of that bit, and now I can click V and ungroup it because it's a group right now. Select this, delete this. So I'm going to leave that like that, and then I can copy and paste this and have this as Kini concept going down there. So now we're going to bring over that woman that we screenshotted earlier. I'm just going to plop her in there. I'm actually going to create a new layer, and I'm going to copy and paste and put her in layer 2 and then delete her from layer 1. I'm going to reduce the opacity of her, then go back into layers and then lock her into place. I'm going to click my pen tool. Can you see that that thing came up like this? It's because this layer is locked, so I can't actually work on this layer. So I have to go back to layer 1, which is the layer that I want to work on. So I've selected my pen tool. I should be able to draw now, but in here I'm just going to quickly click the non-fill in here, and I'm going to click black in here and maybe reduce the stroke a little bit. And now I'm going to zoom in and start tracing her. So I'm just literally following the lines of her body and just clicking and going ahead. This is quite simple. I'm just on my pen tool and I'm just clicking away. I'm not going to do the details of the feet or the toes because I know exactly like what I'm going to do with this afterwards. So I feel like the details of the toes are just going to be quite unnecessary. So I'm going to go back into that pen tool and I'm going to choose my anchor point tool. I did say that you will see me use this anchor point tool at some point in this video. And I'm going to go ahead and start curving some of those lines. So I'm going to first start off over here and I'm going to click that anchor that I put down, and I'm just going to drag it out so that the line kind of like smooths itself out. I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of have an idea of what's happened there. You will see it a bit more here, so I'm going to again take this point and I'm going to drag out the lines. If it drags like weird like this, you're dragging it in the wrong direction. So I'm going to drag it this way instead, and I'm going to give her a little bit of a booty. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to drag this line out as well. And I'm pretty much going to be doing that all over her body. that's that done. So now I can go back into my layers and I can get rid of her. So I can just do that by deleting layer 2 and it will just leave this. And I'm gonna go into properties and I'm actually gonna add a fill into it. Black. As you can see, it's a lovely black silhouette of a woman with her feet sticking up exactly how I wanted it. And I'm actually going to incorporate it into this logo here. And I feel like this is probably likely to be my favorite logo. So as you can see, I've just copied and pasted that. In fact, I'm going to actually create another artboard because I feel like this artboard is getting a little bit too loaded, and at least it gets me to show you how to create an artboard. So I'm going to click onto this gray part here, and in properties this will pop up and you can edit artboards, and here you will see a little like add. You can add a new artboard and here you go, and then you can exit here and it will go back. So now I've got 2 artboards and I'm just going to move her over into this artboard and move this over into this artboard. And as you can see, you probably can get an idea of what I wanted to do with her. So I'm going to scale her down holding shift so it doesn't change any proportions of her. But as you can see, she's a bit like not on the same plane. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to click my A tool so I can adjust some of those anchors. So I'm going to bring this anchor down like this, and I'm also going to bring this anchor down, this one down, so that she is like in line with the bikini. And I'm also going to take this anchor as well and bring that out so that it's straight like that. And as you can see, that is looking pretty cool if I do say so myself. That is probably the logo that I like. I'm gonna move her around and see whether I prefer her maybe with her like butt going into there a bit, so maybe like that. So in fact, I'm gonna take that, copy and paste it, and I'm gonna move her like this so I can get an idea of what I like. I do still, however, like this logo as well, so I'm gonna take this, copy and paste it, and maybe go like that. I don't know. What do we think, guys? What are we thinking? Again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy and paste it again. And this time I'm going to change the way it looks, and I'm going to go for solid this time. And then I'm going to take this, copy and paste it, and put her here. And then I'm going to select this and I'm actually going to ombre this. So for my ombre, I'm going to get rid of the stroke completely on this, and then I'm going to go into my fill. And then in my fill, I've already got an ombre effect with yellow and orange, so I'm going to click that. But then once I click it, I'm going to then click gradient options, and I'm going to change the colors within the gradient options here. So I'm going to start off with this one, and I'm just going to double click and it will bring up these color swatches, and I'm going to make a brown. So I'm going to click the darkest brown here, go back in, click the next circle, and then click the next brown, click the next brown, and so on until all of it is brown. And then as you can see, she's a lovely brown. And then I'm going to click on my Martini concept and I'm going to click the fill, and I'm going to do the same thing again, or maybe I can have a pattern with it. Yes, I'm going to have a pattern. Yes, I feel like I want her body to be like a little bit longer. So I'm going to go back to that and show you exactly what I just did there. So within my fill, I've got some patterns. So I just selected that brown pattern here. You should have that as an option on your Illustrator as well. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to click A, because now I feel like I want to kind of drag her body out a little bit. So I'm going to click this anchor and I'm going to drag it out a bit and then match it with this. Now she's got some long body. But I'm actually going to click here and I'm going to go to this anchor and I'm going to double click it, and I'm actually going to move it so that it dips a little bit like this. So it's a little bit more of like a long bum situation. Within this, I want to type something like swimwear. So I'm going to go into my text tool and I'm just going to type swimwear in here. I already like that text, and I'm going to make the fill white, and I'm going to reduce the size of it like that. I'm going to drop it in there and have something like this. I quite like that. I might actually add a stroke just so that the bikini concept is a little bit like clearer, but I'm not going to have it in black. I'm going to go for a brown color. And there we go. I kind of want to build on this a little bit more. So I'm going to take this, whole thing, copy and paste it up here, go into Google, and I'm gonna type in Martini glass. So I'm gonna grab a Martini glass to copy, and I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. Then I'm gonna quickly pop it in there. I'm actually gonna work on it in my other artboard because it's got a little bit more space. And I'm gonna do the exact same that I did before. Now that I've got my dodgy shaped martini glass, which I managed to actually butcher, I'm going to incorporate that into some of my logos. So I'm going to bring over my 2Ks from here and put her up there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to put some numbers next to them so that in the comments y'all can give me a vote as to which logo you prefer. So this is number 1, this is number 2, this one is number 3, this one is number 4, and this one is number 5. Please drop a comment down in the comments below which one is your favorite logo. You can rank them or you can just suggest one logo that you like best. I know which one I love, so I hope you pick that one as well so that I can go ahead and use that one for my Kini concept for my starter kit. So guys, thank you so much for clicking and watching that video. I really hope that video has been clear as to how I design logos and how you can design logos from the inspirational part to actually developing a logo. So I really hope that has been clear and you've enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, drop that comment, drop which one was your favorite logo, and I'll catch you guys in my very next video. Bye.